to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Are there any communications or proposals from commissioners? Any communications or proposals from commissioners? Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dean. I am wondering if on a future agenda, we may have an update on the 5-point roundabout at Mini Malfunction Junction. I know the last update was in November, and you discussed the pedestrian improvements versus full roundabout, and at that time, Director Knopke said he could come back with some information about funding options. So or maybe funding ideas as well. So I'm interested in an update on that and funding for both options or ideas for both the pedestrian-only improvement and the longevity of that project or the full roundabout. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there any additional discussion from the commission? I'm certainly open to that update and interested in learning more.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioner Gustafson, and we'd be happy to do that. I'll look at the schedule and see where we can fit that update in. Thank you.
Great. Any additional communications or proposals from commissioners? I do have one brief fun announcement. Tomorrow morning, there will be an Olympic slopestyle finals watch party for Helena's own Connor Ralph, who is competing in the finals tomorrow morning. It is at the Rocky Mountain Emergency Services Training Center, which is out on by the airport. Doors open at 4:15 a.m. Because they're obviously in Europe. Wishing all the luck to Connor from the city of Helena, but very, very exciting to have one of our own competing as an Olympian this year. And I hope that someone will be able to make it at that hour. All right, moving on to our report of the city attorney, acting city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city attorney's office does not have a report at this time.
Great, thank you. Report of the city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, Commissioners. A few things to update you on today. First, in our IT department, they continue to focus on the city's strategic goal of maintaining and improving city services. They're currently in phase 2 of 3 of a comprehensive overhaul of the city's network. This project began in September 2024 and remains on schedule and on budget, with a completion anticipated by the end of 2026. And once finished, this upgrade will expect to serve the city for 10 to 15 years with only minor ongoing maintenance. I also want to acknowledge and thank our county partners for the consolidated service model. This significantly reduces redundancies, and over time it has saved the taxpayers millions of dollars. So that's a fantastic partnership over there. Second, supporting holistic commercial and residential development remains a strategic priority for this commission. In that vein, last week, city staff met with the Helena School District, along with engineers, architects, and contractors for initial coordination on the high school and elementary projects in Helena. These were made possible, of course, by the school levy that passed last year. These projects will require significant effort from our city staff over the next several years. Departments from our fire, police, community development, transportation, and public works, among many others. And I want to express my appreciation to city staff for the work already done and for the continued commitment ahead. City staff efforts are critical to supporting this investment in our community and in the future generations of this town. Third, from our transportation department, happy to report the Federal Highway Administration sent our fully executed $1.3 million planning grant today for the East Side Connector project. The project will study a future roadway connection between the south interchange on I-15 and Crossroads Parkway, US 12, which would open up approximately 700 acres for future development for the city of Helena. Very exciting project. So from here, the city will next issue a request for qualifications to select a design consultant. This project is expected to last about 6 weeks. Following that, the planning effort will take about 18 to 24 months and will include multiple opportunities for public input as work moves forward. And finally, I want to report on our goal to become an employer of choice. In that lane, citywide vacancies remain below 2%. This is significant compared to an average of 5 to 10% in similar organizations. In addition, our average turnover rate has improved significantly from approximately 40% in 2021 to less than 2.9% in 2025. We are very proud of our dedicated staff in HR who have made this a focus, as well as our department heads for helping us to shift our culture. We still have work to do, but this is a fantastic start. And for those interested in joining our great staff at the city, we encourage you to visit the city's website to view current employment opportunities. And with that, Madam Mayor, back to you. That concludes my update. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or discussion from the commission for the City Manager? Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
Just would like to comment on the staffing part. As a former city employee during those times of 2021, it felt like I was meeting a new coworker every other week. So to hear that it's at below 2% and it's amazing. I mean, from where we came from. So I thank the commission and city clerk and city manager and all the other departments that's something to be extremely proud of. So, good job.
And thank you, Commissioner Rigby. And I'd like to say, as I highlighted previously, this is a huge effort by our HR department for taking this goal very seriously, and also our department heads for the leadership that they've shown. Obviously, when you have strong leadership, people want to stick around. And so I think this is a great testament to that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we will move along to communications from the Helena Citizens Council. And clerk, do we have anyone online from the HCC?
Mayor Dean, I do not see a representative from the HCC online.
All right, we will go ahead and move along. And if an HCC representative gets online, maybe you can just flag me down and we'll pencil them in. All right, let's move along to regular items. Our first item A, consider an interfund cash operating loan from Streets Fund to Parking Fund for the purchase and transfer of a vehicle. Director Danielson.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. I brought this before you at our just previous administrative meeting. This is an interfund loan that we're asking the Commission to approve between the Parking Fund and the Streets Fund for the purchase of a 2023 Highlander. The current vehicle and parking has become unreliable. And so the Streets Fund has an additional vehicle that they feel like they can let go to the Parking Fund for operations. The proposed sale price, excuse me, the proposed sale price is just the current book value of $25,203 at 3 year. It never fails. At a 3-year loan at the current borrowing rate of the city.
Thank you, Director Danielson. Are there any comments or questions from the commission?
Mayor Dean.
Yes, Commissioner Logan, and then we'll go to Rigby.
Okay. Sorry, Director Danielson, this one's for you.
Speak slowly, so
It
give
never
her a
fails.
chance to.
So the vehicle itself, the 2023 Highlander, was purchased with street maintenance funds?
Thank you, Commissioner Logan and Mayor Dean. Yes, so the street maintenance fund did pay for the vehicle out of street maintenance dollars, the assessment, and that is why we do an interfund loan to the parking fund at the current borrowing rate.
Okay, thank you. One other, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And this might be for Deputy Director Cooey, if you wouldn't mind.
I don't mind.
So it's a 2023 Highlander. It was, why was it originally purchased and why is it no longer needed?
Sure, Mayor and Commissioner Logan. So this vehicle was the administrative vehicle for myself and Director Konopke. In the last year and a half or so, since we moved our offices over here from the shop, we just don't use it very often anymore. We're not traveling back and forth as often, so It's just sort of an extra vehicle around for the streets department at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Rigby.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Sorry, Ms. Director Danielson. So for a air cap loan at 5% that's variable, how will that work if the interest rate changes? How will those charges be from department to department? Will you have to come back in front of us? How does that work with being variable?
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor Dean and Commissioner Rigby. So because it's in the resolution that it's a variable loan, if the interest rate does change, we'll just change the amortization schedule. And then the parking fund will have a different payment structure as the current borrowing rate. I had originally anticipated the step rate to decrease this coming February 15th, but it maintained its same level at 5%. I still am anticipating it to go down in the future as treasury rates come down. It's very much driven off government treasury rates because that's what STEP invests in, is overnight government security. So as those rates are anticipated to come down, it'll actually be a benefit to the parking fund if the interest rate comes down as well.
Go ahead.
You know, I know I kind of asked it at the admin meeting, and I guess so. Could you explain a little bit more on why we charge interest to ourselves?
That's a good question. Thank you, Commissioner Rigby and Mayor Dean. So each fund is a self-balancing set of accounts. Each fund has its different revenue sources. The general fund has the ability to give to other funds. However, it's not reciprocal. Other funds can't give to other funds because they're typically related to a specific revenue source. So ratepayers for enterprise funds pay rates for infrastructure and service delivery of that particular service. In this particular case, the Streets Fund charges an assessment that's specific to street maintenance. Because of that, they can't just gift the vehicle or, in this case, not get the fair market value of a loan from one fund to another. Historically, the city has always charged an interest rate if a fund of general fund, like any other special revenue fund, enterprise fund, if there's loans between those funds, they always have historically structured those loans at the current borrowing rate that the city has to borrow against.
Go ahead.
So pros and cons of doing that if we were just to sell something inside the city for fair market value and then just make those payments. What's the con of doing that?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So if we just had a 0% loan for selling the vehicle.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Rigby. So the con is actually to the Streets Fund. They paid fair market value for the vehicle. If they were to surplus the vehicle, they would surplus it at probably a higher price at this point than the book value, and gain the the increased value on that particular vehicle. We're just it's because it's a fairly newer vehicle. I'm certain that if they surplused it, they could get the full book value or more. Again, when they're it really is trying to take a look at it as an arm's length transaction between each funds, and so that's how we handle transactions between funds, is kind of an arm's length transaction between them two.
Good. All right. Excellent. Any final discussion or questions from the commission?
Mayor
Yes,
Dean,
Commissioner Logan.
just a comment. So Director Danielson answered one of the questions relative to street assessments are for a specific purpose, street maintenance and its operation. And this vehicle was purchased with those funds, but now it's going to a it's going to become a parking vehicle. So I guess I'm gonna have a hard time supporting the resolution from the standpoint of essentially, well, the streets fund is loaning parking the money. And so didn't essentially streets purchase a vehicle for parking? That's kind of what it seems to me like. It may not exactly be that way, but I'm kind of struggling with this conceptually.
Mayor, may I address the comment, Commissioner Logan? So at the time that the Streets Fund chose to purchase, at the time, 2 Highlanders, there was a need for the Streets Funds to have those vehicles. They have, as Chris Cooey had indicated, they had since moved over to this building, and their administrative staff are not traveling like they used to. So they can have the opportunity to share a vehicle instead of having 2 separate vehicles going to different sites all the time. So there was a definite need for the Streets Fund to purchase the vehicles at the time. Their circumstances have changed. The parking fund did budget $10,000 in their budget in fiscal year 26. I'm not sure what kind of vehicle that they could get for $10,000, but it's certainly, a possibility that they could get a reliable vehicle at $10,000. It's just that this particular vehicle, I believe, and they believe, that it will last a lot longer, and that the parking fund will end up in a better place with a reliable vehicle for a longer period of time.
Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Just so that would kind of answer my question, I guess, was this budgeted, and then we'll have to go through this, the loan, just learning how the loan go. I looked at the budget from last year, looking at debt service and things like that. So then we'll budget that into the 27, save for the loan amount from street maintenance, from parking. And show both.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean and Commission. So we will do a budget adjustment, but in our budget resolution, we're allowed to make an internal budget adjustment for any type of debt service. And so on the street side, they don't really need a budget adjustment for revenue. And then the parking has the appropriations already to pay for the first payment. So we adopt our budgets based on the fund level and not at the line item level. So there's plenty of flexibility within each budget for the transaction.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, any additional discussion? All right, we'll open it up for public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? All right, seeing no public comment, any final questions from the commission? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you. I'm going to do my first motion. I'm going to read. I move to approve a resolution establishing an operating cash loan from the Streets Fund to the Parking Fund for the purchase and transfer of a vehicle.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Excellent job on your first motion. Any final discussion? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby,
Hi.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
No.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 4-1.
All right, we will move along to item B, consider a resolution amending resolution number 20886, which created the City of Helena Planning Commission. Director Chris Brink.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. So as Mayor Dean indicated, this is a consideration of a resolution amending a previous resolution from October 23, which created our City of Helena Planning Commission. In addition to the language that's in the resolution, this also, it adds membership to the Planning Commission in terms of numbers, and it adds all the roles and responsibilities anticipated for planning commissions that are under the Montana Land Use Planning Act. Back in October 23, as I indicated, Commission adopted a resolution, created our City of Helena Planning Commission so that we can work towards compliance with the implementation of the Montana Land Use Planning Act. and that was a consolidation of existing boards and commissions that we have now, Zoning Commission, Board of Adjustments, and our membership on the Consolidated City-County Planning Board. The Planning Commission, as it is designed by the Act, is responsible for recommendations of not only our land use plan, but recommendations on zoning and amendments to the zoning ordinance and map, as well as amendments and new language to our subdivision regulations. And as drafted and as required by the Planning Act, it does also act as an appeals board for legislative acts, as well as administrative acts and ministerial acts that are built into the Act. Initially, the Planning Commission was created to consist of only 3 members at the time. We did that for a reason, and that was to be nimble as we were working through the land use planning process. It was easier at the time to just wrangle 3 members as we were moving through that fast public process, rather than have a full complement of 7. So we elected to just sit the Planning Commission with 3, with the goal that we would propose an increase to 7 members of that board. The Planning Act lets us have anywhere between 3 and 7. We chose to have the full complement, or asking for you to consider a full complement of members to 7. In conclusion, city staff in consultation and coordination with a consultant, now is the appropriate time to move to add 4 members. My memo says 7, but we will, or 5 additional members, but it's only 4 additional members. So that we can now begin looking at the deeper dive in our zoning ordinance, as well as come May of this year, we will be fully under Montana Land Use Planning Act, and we will need the full complement of roles and responsibilities that are designed for the Planning Commission. So I do recommend, and staff does recommend, that that Commission move to adopt a resolution amending Resolution 20886, created by the City of Helena Planning, which created the City of Helena Planning Commission, adding 4 additional members and fully charging the Planning Commission with the full duties as outlined in the Montana Land Use Planning Act. I'm open for questions, comments.
Great, thank you, Director Brink. Questions or comments from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Gustafson.
Mayor Dean, thank you. Director Brink, I have a question on Section 5, qualifications of the Planning Commission. It says that citizen members shall be residents of the city or residents with any area that the commission has jurisdiction. So can you remind me the area that the commission has jurisdiction? Is it it's not the whole county?
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner, no. So the act, and we're not proposing we do this now, it will require coordination and agreement with the county, but we can take over planning roles and responsibilities within the USB. So we can take extraterritorial regulations and apply them within the USB if we elect to do that. We've not had that discussion with the county. It would require a coordination agreement by both jurisdictions for us to do that. But they have already established zoning within that jurisdiction, and we're going through the joint infrastructure study, which will hopefully take care of the infrastructure needs within the extraterritorial area. So at this time, it's just within the city. But we want to make it open that if we choose to elect to employ land use planning and zoning and subdivision regulations in the USB, then we would have the option to do that without.
For those who aren't familiar, can you tell us what the USB is?
That's the urban standards boundary, so that's extraterritorial area outside of the city that was agreed upon between the city and the county. We take an extra land use look relative to that area that's just adjacent to the city. Kind of establishes the framework for future annexation if an owner or the city elects to do that.
May I repeat back what I think I heard you say? That it will start, and thank you for that explanation, it will start with just city residents, and then at a later date, it's leaving it open to include residents of the USB, the urban standards boundary,
Commissioner,
which is close to the city.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I have another question I forgot. You mentioned that it will be made up of, or representatives who are on some of the other relevant boards can serve on this board as well. Have you identified folks that are interested in serving on this board, and will they need to go through the same application process of any board and committee service?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner. So as I customarily do, I go through my memo and I forget the highlights and the important stuff. I apologize. But yes, part of what we are electing to do, because we recognize we still need those other boards and commissions, we don't want to pilfer membership so that we're having to refill those boards. If it is your choice, and it is strictly up to you, that's why we built it in the resolution, we would like other members of our other boards to also serve concurrently on the Planning Commission until such time those boards go away. So right now, we've solicited input or solicited interest from our other boards. We haven't heard from anybody, but they would need to go through the same application process so we can get their name in the queue for Danae and her office to start that review process and provide those to the mayor for consideration. But we have already solicited interest from those boards and commissions. Haven't had any takers yet, unfortunately, so we will do that once again.
Other questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Rigby.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. In a hypothetical world, what if we said no, like to the amendment?
Thank you, Mayor Dean, Commissioner. Fair question, great question. It would stay at 3. The problem is, if we don't amend the resolution and add the roles and responsibilities, we won't be in compliance with the act. Because right now, it's just limited to doing the initial work for land use, zoning, and subdivision regulations. Doesn't open them up for amendments and considering amendments to that. Zone changes would be an amendment to the map, nor would it open it up for them to be the appeals board for all of our ministerial acts that the act requires us to now do.
Perfect. That's what I wanted you to say.
Great.
One more?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So how do we, or I guess I'll kind of touch on Commissioner Gustafson's question a little bit. So we don't have anyone from the USB, and how do we get them involved to start that conversation, relationship to extend and utilize all this hard work?
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Rigby, so we've not had the discussions with the mayor, with the county about taking over jurisdiction of the USB. Right now, it's an extraterritorial area. I don't know if we really want to take on primary planning and land use control yet. The county has done a lot of work themselves relative to subdivision regulations and zoning within that to mirror our land use, and we've had good collaboration with making sure we're all on the same page with what's outside of the city but within the USB. So right now, there is no value, we don't feel, to proceed taking over jurisdiction of that area. If we do that and we elect or ask or think that that's valid, then we'll come back to you and have those discussions to start that. But right now, it's just staff's opinion that we're not primed for that yet because we have a great working relationship with the county when it comes to land use.
Perfect. Thank you.
Other questions? I do have a couple. So I think maybe, and this may be a bit of a comment. So in the legislation, the reason that it allows for this planning board to be able to, at some point, should the participating organizations, i.e. us in the county, wish for us to be involved in the planning of the urban standards boundary, the purpose from the legislative perspective was to ensure that we are having cohesive zoning and improving and increasing density within the urban standards boundary. Is that your interpretation?
Mayor Dean, that's correct. And it's essentially crafted so that those jurisdictions, those counties that don't have land use control, don't have planning, don't have zoning, don't have subdivision regulations, that then in that case, perhaps that municipality would like to take over land use control. But because we're in the situation we are with Lewis and Clark County, there's really no benefit at this point for us to take over jurisdiction.
Okay, great. And then can you talk a little bit about, say this resolution passes right now, what next steps are in your office in terms of dissolving the zoning, Board of Adjustments, city county planning, and then what happens next?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Another great question. So right now, the way the resolution is crafted, full complement of roles and responsibilities for the Planning Commission would start in May 17th of 2026. That's the date the governor signed the act 3 years ago, which is the timeline for us to be fully implemented with the act. Moving forward, once we get closer to the May date, then we'll bring additional ordinances, because I think Board of Appeals is in the zoning ordinance, and then the Planning Board, Zoning Commission, or in the Zoning Commission subdivision, or the zoning ordinance. Planning Board mentioned in the subdivision regs, Board of Zoning Adjustment is in the subdivision regs. We'll bring ordinances at that time to actually dissolve those by ordinance.
Okay.
But right now, we're still going to need them because we're still bringing in applications under the old processes. Those boards will continue to exist until at such time they're not needed, but we'll bring additional ordinances to dissolve them. With the city county planning boards, a little different. That is actually part of a interlocal agreement between the two jurisdictions. So we've already started the process of dissolving that board and withdrawing from that board. I drafted a letter to my counterpart in the county to kind of get the ball rolling, and then they'll need to do some things on their end to reestablish the commission for their needs.
And my final question, just so there's clarity for the public, the roles that we are proposing, the board members who could serve concurrently would be those who are on, for example, if you're on the zoning board right now, you could concurrently serve on this board.
That's correct.
Okay.
Same for the board adjustments, and only the city membership, thank you, Mayor, and only the city membership or the city members of the city county planning board, not the county appointed members,
Great.
just your appointed members.
Yep, thank you. All right, any final discussion or questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on item B? Any public comment? Madam Clerk?
Mayor Dean, I have no public comment online.
All right, seeing no public comment, is there any final discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're on a roll.
I was on a roll.
You go for it.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion.
Please.
I move to adopt a resolution amending resolution number 20886, which created the City of Helena Planning Commission, adding 4 additional and fully charging the Planning Commission with the full duties as outlined in the Montana Land Use Planning Act.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Wrigley,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we will move on to item C, consider approval of the final plat for the Lincoln Park Townhome subdivision totaling .241 acres with 3 residential lots. Planner 2, Mr. Holland.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As stated, this is the approval of a final plat of an administrative minor subdivision located along Poplar Street. It's on your screens now showing the configuration. As a little bit of a background, the administrative minor subdivision process was created in the 23 legislative session as a method to streamline subdivisions for infill projects where no variances are required, where they're already served by city services and the transportation network. And it is much similar to our amended plat process. This is the first of these applications that has made it all the way to the final plat and for the City Commission's consideration. As you can see, this is a subdivision creating 3 small lots. Because of the creation of 3 lots, it is required to go through parkland dedication. The applicant in this case chose not to do the cash in lieu option and did create 2 small open spaces along the alley here to be dedicated to the park to be used for a purpose yet to be determined by the Parks Board. That led to the only condition that was placed on the preliminary plat for this was that the applicant must fence those properties prior to final plat. With consultation of Parks Maintenance Superintendent, they were allowed to do a temporary fence option there with the understanding that a full and permanent fence will come with the construction of the 3 proposed townhomes that will be going on these independent lots. On November 19th, city staff gave the approval of the preliminary plat, and then that one condition was met on December 15th. As you can see in front of you, this is the lot. If there are any questions for city staff at this time, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Questions or comments for staff? Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I have a question about what you were just explaining, these little park open space areas. On one of the views, it shows the alleyway and then it kind of turns to grass. Is this a used alleyway, and will the subdivision have alley access on either side of, like to the lots?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioner Gustafson. Sorry. That alley exists. As to its actual usability at this time, that is a little bit of a debate. It was never vacated, and so Habitat for Humanity does have the right to use it. It has been sort of consumed by Lincoln Park over the years, with some vegetation growing into it and such, but the current intention is, yes, to use the alleyway to meet the off-street parking requirement that these townhomes would have.
Other questions? I do have a question. Can you speak to, so one of the, it says that there was some public comment or concern from neighbors around the traffic and parking. And I'm wondering if you can maybe talk a little bit more about the parking, how that works with the sort of alley. And then also, it says that the public comment also included issues with theft and trash. I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Thank you, Mayor. So our current city parking requirements require 2 off-street parking spaces per dwelling unit. You are allowed to meet up to 50% of your off-street parking requirement by using available on-street parking, as long as you have an uninterrupted 20-foot span. As you can see in this configuration, they've laid this out to guarantee 20 feet for that middle lot, as well as slightly over for both of the outside lots. So this proposal does meet all current City of Helena parking requirements. On-street parking is a consistent comment that we get throughout any sort of project that increases density throughout Helena. There is no guarantee to the parking on the street. It is open for all vehicular traffic, but it is just a concern of population in this town that they don't want too much. As for the theft and trash in the surrounding areas, I can't particularly speak to how strong that problem is. As we know, it happens, but this project is in line with the current residential uses in the area. I would not expect it to create an unnecessary burden on the surrounding areas for trash than any other residential project.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, any final discussion? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Madam Clerk, is there any public comment online?
Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Okay, seeing no public comment in the room and no public comment online, any final commission discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Do we need
Oh,
a
no,
motion?
Madam Clerk, don't call the roll. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I move to approve the final plat for Lincoln Park Townhome subdivision totaling .241 acres with 3 residential lots.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you please call the roll now?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, and then we will move on to our final regular item, item D. Consider a resolution for final annexation of Crossroads Parkway south of Alice Street, a public right-of-way adjacent to Phase 3 of the Crossroads at Mountain View Meadows. Mr. Holland.
Good evening again, Mayor and Commissioners. This item is for the annexation of Crossroads Parkway south of Alice Street. It was covered initially in the resolution of intention to annex on February 9th, 2009, resolution of intention number 19627. At the time that the northern portion of Crossroads Parkway was annexed, this section of Crossroads did not meet city standards. That has since been remedied, and final infrastructure approval was given on January 7th of this year, giving the final go-ahead for annexation. This is a city-initiated annexation of continuous government property. This is a Montana Department of Transportation-owned section of road at this time, and we are initiating this annexation to facilitate potential future annexation of the portions of the Padbury property to the west of Crossroads here. And then, as mentioned earlier, with the planning grant for the east side connection there to bring Crossroads down to the I-90 interchange there, this will be a vital part of that. At this time, this will be under city maintenance until which time that east side connection is completed, at which point all of Crossroads Parkway will go under Montana Department of Transportation maintenance. Are there any questions for city staff at this time?
Any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, seeing no questions or comments from the commission, is there any public comment? Madam Clerk, any public comment online?
Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Okay, any final discussion from the commission? I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Dean,
Commissioner Logan.
I move to approve a resolution for final annexation of the contiguous government land known as Tract HW2 of Certificate of Survey number 3145703, situated in the west half northwest quarter of Section 35, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, PMM, Lewis and Clark County, Montana, containing an area of 5.398 acres, more or less, and more commonly known as the portion of Crossroads Parkway south of the intersection of Crossroads Parkway and Alice Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigby,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustafson,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Mayor Dean.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, we are going to jump back up to item 6, updates from the Helena Citizens Council. Sorry to put you on the spot, Mr. Kuiper.
Thank you, Mayor, Dean, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Ben Kuiper. I'm the chair of the Helena Citizens Council. Sorry for my late arrival today. I had something else going on. So we met, let's see, it would have been the 4th week of January. We were having some technical issues and we had a few action items on our agenda. what we decided to do was to delay the decision on those action items until our February meeting. Nothing was extremely time sensitive, so except for a small funding allocation, we didn't make any decisions that meeting. And we are still on track to meet on the fourth Wednesday of February at 7. So unless there's any questions, that's all I got for you.
Great. Any questions or comments for the HCC? Thank you, Mr.
Yep,
Kuiper.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Is there any public comment on any item not listed on this agenda? So any general public comment? Madam Clerk, is there any general public comment online?
Mayor Dean, I have no public comment online.
Okay, any final thoughts from the commission? All right, seeing no final commission discussion, with that, this meeting is adjourned.